It's spooky season. Welcome to Already Overbooked. I am very excited to go through and talk with you about the 9 different books that I want plan on reading or listening to within the month of October. So let's just jump right in to the first one. Last month, I decided I was going to finally jump on the bandwagon and go through and read the Stormlight Archive. I read the first book, The Way of Kings, and loved it. So now it's time to jump on to book number 2, Words of Radiance. So this is on my list. I hear that this is probably one of the best books in the series so far. So we will see. I really enjoyed the first one. The Way of Kings was fantastic. So if hearing this is going to be an even better story, it has me very, very excited. So I'm hoping to read this. I don't know if I'm going to be able to finish it due to its behemoth of a size, but we will get to as much as we can this month. The next book I have on my list is The Trouble with Peace by Joe Abercrombie. This is my only reread for the month. I try to go through and reread one of my favorite series every year. So, a huge fan of Joe Abercrombie. So, I am on The Trouble with Peace, his second to last book in the series. So, very, very excited to jump back in to see if it's as good as what I remember it being the first go around. So, The Trouble with Peace is another book I'm going to be going through and reading in the month of October. The next one I have on my list is Something from the Night Side. I went through and was at the library trying to find a good horror book, that horror thriller kind of book, and the librarian told me to go through and get this one. So, to be honest, I have not even read the back of this book. There's a few other ones I've not read the back. I have no idea what they're about. Based on recommendations, I'm going to go through and read it. So again, Something from the Night Side from Simon R. Green is going to be on the list. Very excited to go through and read this fast-paced kind of book. The next one I have, you cannot go wrong for spooky season with a Joe Hill. So I got Joe Hill Horns right here. I've not gone through and read this book. I've read some other books by Joe Hill. Nosferatu is probably one of my favorites written by Joe Hill. But Horns, I know there's a movie with the Harry Potter kid. Can't remember his name. I've not seen the movie. We'll see how this book goes. If I enjoy the book, I might decide to actually officially watch the movie, and we'll see if that's something I would be interested in. But yeah, Horns by Joe Abercrombie, Joe Hill. Another book that I'm going to be physically reading is book number 2 of Repairman Jack. I've stumbled upon this series by a booktuber. The Bearded Book Beast told me to go through and read Repairman Jack. Read the first one. It was a lot of fun. It gave off the Dresden File badass thriller kind of book. So you know those normal thriller books where it's a one-man army against a bad guy. Do that, but with a little bit of a Dresden File twist with some of the supernatural aspects to it, which is a lot of fun. So very excited to see what happens to Jack in this book, and we'll definitely do a review down the line after I read this one. If it's just as good, if not better than this first one, I will be 100% continuing this fantastic series, Legacies, book number 2 of F. Paul Wilson. The next one I have on my list was recommended by another YouTuber of named Smitty. Smitty is fantastic. This one is The Kind Worth Killing by Peter Swanson. This was listed as a 5-star read for Smitty. Me and him kind of align with what we think are 5-star reads. So I'm very excited to go through and jump into this one. Again, didn't read the back of it. I'm going just based on recommendations, so I'm going to go in blind. But I love doing that with books, just jumping in and seeing if I like it or not. The last physical book that I'm going through and reading is Devour by Kurt Anderson. So I went and was on Pango, ordered a few books, and I needed an extra book to get free shipping. I thought that the cover of this looked awesome. So a big monster eating a boat. So I picked it up. Same thing. Didn't read the back. I think the cover looks cool. So that's what I'm going to read it. So we'll see. Hopefully it's not a dud and it's going to be a lot of fun. So we'll see. Devour by Kurt Anderson. The non-physical books, I have one ebook and two audiobooks. So the ebook I'm going to go through and read, it's called Uhtred's Feast by Bernard Cornwell. I love the Last Kingdom book series. I read every single one multiple times. So very excited to go through and jump in to see what the behind the scenes inside the world of the Last Kingdom with Uhtred's Feast. I do not have a lot of expectations for this book. I think it's just going to be middle of the road, but it's Bernard Cornwell. It's bringing us back to Uhtred of Bebbanburg. So I got to jump in and read that book. The other book that I think is also going to be middle of the road, it's kind of to me, it's going to be a kind of palate cleanser, is After the Fall by Ryan Casey. I read the first one of the Surviving the EMP series. A buddy of mine loves EMP types of stories, so he wanted me to read this along with him as kind of a local buddy read. So we're going through and reading the full series. I thought the first one was pretty good. It was okay. Not really my big cup of tea, but I could see why people go through and love it. I liked it enough that I'm going to continue the series with him, and we'll have fun talking about it. And the last one that I am super hyped to go through and listen to is The Reformatory. I've heard a lot of things about this book online. It seems like it's hitting the circuits. It's running around that everyone's going through and loving this story. I've not heard of it prior to a few weeks ago. So I'm excited to jump in and start listening to that story. I hear it has a lot of horrific horror. It's based in Florida in the deep South during a tough time in our history. So I'm really curious on the horror aspect and how they're going to go through and really elevate the story. This is probably my biggest hype book I have that's not a reread. I'm expecting a lot from this book. So I'm expecting a 9 out of 10 for this book. So I'm hoping it exceeds my expectations and hopefully becomes the book of the month. So that's my guess, is The Reformatory is going to be my book of the month, but we'll see. Very excited to go through. We have a lot of bangers, a lot of great books from these amazing authors. And I think that's it. So I will see you in the next one. Peace.